Hello dears, welcome to this week's training session, Transcending with DLC. This week I want to talk to you about transgender women and their body. This is the most important lessons that I've learned since I've been transitioning for the last 5 years about my body and the things I wish I'd learned or I knew before I started my transition. So, you ever notice in the media that people, women especially, are vilified for the way that their body looks? If they don't fit a certain stereotype of what a woman's body should be, then, you know, the media has a field day. Any celebrity who has a bit of a muffin top, as they say, or, you know, cellulite, women are absolutely vilified for not having the perfect body. And I think there's a lot of pressure on women to be a certain way, never mind trans women. And it's a real struggle for a lot of women. If you add all the anxieties that women have about weight and appearance, and then you go and add being a transgender woman on top of that, I'm not saying that any is as important as the other, but I'm being trans-specific here. So, you know, the anxieties of going out in public, of not only being read in public, but also of going shopping, of buying clothes, of wearing anything that's kind of a little bit revealing or can perhaps reveal what your gender identity is. It's awful, and there's a lot of pressures on women to be a certain way and look a certain way. So the things I'm going to share with you, I hope that are going to encourage you to be yourself and be different, because after all, everyone is different. So the fact that we're all the media tries to pigeonhole us into a certain way of looking, I think is crazy anyway. Okay, the first thing I want to say to you is, you're going to get fatter. You're going to hate me for saying this, and certainly a lot of women wouldn't be comfortable with me saying this, but the average transgender woman in their transition puts on 9 pounds of body fat. Scientific fact, nothing to do with figures I've made up. I've researched this topic a lot because of the videos that I do. Transgender women put on average 9 pounds of fat in transition. Now, as I was starting my transition, I was a size 10 in the UK, and I'm 6 foot tall, so you can imagine I didn't really look that great, but there was a lot of things I was going through. I'd moved to a new town, I didn't know anyone, I was in a stressful housing situation, and I was struggling with not seeing my daughter, and the fact that I was struggling to come to terms with how people were reacting towards me, because I was, in the early stage of my transition, so I didn't think I was that convincing. I was getting a lot of crap outside of my, house, and I had bulimia, and I really struggled with the way that people saw me, and I really didn't want to put any more weight on, because I figured if I look heavier, then people are just going to see a fat man. Absolute nonsense, I know that now, but at the time I felt really, I was in a really bad place. Even now you can see like my body language and stuff, I'm going all tense when I'm thinking about it. It was an awful, awful time, but as soon as I realised that, one, that trans women put on body fat, and two, the way that your body redistributes fatty tissue and growth changes, where you used to get it as a guy on your tummy, as a woman you get it on your boobs and your bum and your hips, and if you don't eat, you're not going to build up that body fat. And if anything, I think that since I've put on the body fat that I have done, I'm a bit more convincing. Certainly, I don't think I'm ever going to be 100% convincing, but a lot of people don't read me now, and I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that the shape that I have, I'm proud of the shape that I have, and hopefully you become proud of the shape that you have in your transition too. Number 2, I want to talk to you about breasts, breasticles, boobs, titties, fun bags, whatever you want to call them. Excuse me. Fun bags. Can't believe I said that. Boobs take time to grow. I'm going to use the metaphor again of the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree has to be planted in the ground and then fed and watered every day for a period of 5 years. In the 5th year, in 6 weeks, the bamboo tree will grow from nothing, from ground level to 90 feet. Now I ask you, does that bamboo tree take 6 weeks to grow, or does it take 5 years to grow? Of course, the answer is 5 years. And it's the same with your boobs. I'm not suggesting that you have to water and fertilise your boobs, but when you think about it, you're fertilising them with your hormone therapy, your hormone regime, and also, you're watering them with your diet. Your boobs, and breast tissue take a long time to develop. And as transgender people, we want everything now. It's called transition. It's not called switch. If it was called switch, you would just make the decision, take a pill, and then boom, you'd have the body that you want. You know, as with puberty, when you're changing from an adolescent to a grown-up, you know, your body takes time to develop. You're starting it all over again, so understand that these things take time. When I was, 12 to 18 months into my transition and I had no breast growth, I was like, seriously, is it ever going to happen? And then 18 months to 2 years, had a little bit of growth, a little bit of budding. And then I started saying, do you know what, I just threw my prosthetics out and I just allowed my breasts to be. And since then, I now have a 40B cup. I'm ashamed to say I actually had my first bra fitting for 2 years this week, today. And I'd been wearing a 38B and I was getting marks under my, where my boobs are. It was really uncomfortable and stuff, and sometimes I get backache. And she goes, what size are you wearing? And I told her, and she goes, I'll go get a 40, and she got one, and it was a perfect fit. So, I'd recommend to you as a trans woman as well, if you're going down the hormone therapy route and you're going to want to grow boobs, get your bra fitted every 6 to 12 months, because as your body changes, as your fat distribution changes around your body and your boobs develop and grow, you're going to need different bras. I have and did. I've gone up from, I was wearing a 36B when I first started transition. Obviously I didn't have the B cup, but I had the, the silicone not silicone implants, the silicone prosthetics. And also, while I'm on the subject of implants, 5 years, if you ask a transgender specialist or a clinician who deals with hormone therapy and stuff in this specialist field, they will take you. It takes 5 years for you to get the breast tissue growth that you want to. I have a friend who was transitioned after 2 years, wasn't happy with the chest development, so she went and had an augmentation. I'm not criticising her, I totally understand her reasons for doing so, because she wanted to appear more feminine. But also on the flip side of that, once her boobs started to develop, she had to have them removed because she had so much pain from the breast tissue squeezing the implants. So please understand that these things, your boobs are going to take around 5 years. After 5 years, you're not going to get much more growth. So if you want to wait until then and have the augmentation, you're going to be in a far more realistic place about the expectations of what you have, and therefore the advice you get from a surgery point of view will be better. Number 3, I want you to remember is, you're going to have another puberty. Probably. No, I say probably because if you're lucky enough to have come to your transition in your teenage years and you've had the clinical support to be able to be on puberty blockers, amazing, kudos to you. I'm so glad that you came to this early in your life, because then you're not going to go through the struggle of having 2 puberties and, the changes that your body's already had towards a male appearance. You won't have had that, so that's amazing and well done to you. But if, like me, you came to a transition later in life, or you'd already gone through your first puberty, understand you're going to go through it again. The hormones that you take start having an effect on your brain, the chemical balance of your brain, and there are going to be times when you get angry for no reason, you get sad for no reason, you cry for no reason, you get pissed off with everything or one around you for no reason. There are going to be times when you don't know whether you're coming and going. It's perfectly normal. Remember when you were a teenager and your body was changing the last time? While it might have been changing into something that you didn't like, the emotions that you were going through, the hate, the anger, the scaredness, the anxiety, the resentment, all of those things, you're going to go through them again. So please understand that it is perfectly normal to have all those feelings. Number 4, I want to tell you, and this is going to sound really weird, but bear with me because it's something I've experienced firsthand, and having talking to other trans women, it's something they experience also. So, cis women's hormones are cyclical. Yours will be also. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so with a cis woman, they have a period, and every month they get a surge of estrogen, while they're ovulating and stuff. So they have a rush of hormones. Whilst trans women don't have wombs, so we don't have periods yet, because I think that was something that will perhaps happen in the future, you still have a surge of hormones. I've been on the same hormones now for around about 4 or 5 months. We had a lot of issues when I was post-op about getting my hormone levels right. That was just trial and error with my doctor. She was amazing, so supportive and stuff, and I'm at a level now where I'm on the right medication and I keep taking the same levels. But the way that I am changes from week to week. You know, sometimes I have real surges of hormones. I live with another woman and I'm in a lesbian relationship, so maybe part of it is around to that. But I have a trans female friend who's single on social media, and she tells me that she has surges of hormones that are cyclical. And also, if you're pre-op, you have to think about the testosterone levels as well. You'll have your blood tests regularly, hopefully, with your clinician who's supervising your hormone therapy. But whilst you're waiting for your androgen, if you're on spironolactone or some other kind of medication is being injected or you're administering, then understand as your testosterone levels rise, then you're going to have, you know, more leanings towards anger and those kind of emotions. And then once you've had the injection, your things will calm down. Cyclical. See what I was talking about? So understand it's perfectly normal for your hormone levels to be up and down, but you know, don't worry that things are wrong or that you're the first person that's going through this, because I assure you you're not, and you've only got to talk to one of your female friends or a cis, you know, a trans woman or a cis female friend, or shout me out on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. I have people messaging me and asking me questions and stuff, and I give them advice, or you know, I can coach you. So there you go. And step number 5 finally is trigger warning. Now if you don't want to hear about transgender sex, please fast forward for a bit. But I want to talk to you about sex both pre and post-op. So if you're a cis heteronormative person, you probably don't really have to consider this as an option about when you're going into a relationship, about what your boundaries are, unless you're into like BDSM and stuff and you need to set safe words on things that are and aren't acceptable. But certainly from a transgender person's point of view, every trans person I know, whether they're non-binary, F to M, M to F, I know some people who are in polyamorous relationships as well as, you know, monogamous relationships. I think it's really important to set boundaries. You're coming to terms with your body and who and what you are, whatever stage of your transition that you're at. It's really important. Communication is absolutely key in any kind of in any intimate relationship. Communication is absolutely key. It's vital when you're in a transgender relationship to you're a trans person or in a relationship with a trans person to understand that there are going to be certain things that they're not going to be comfortable with. So set boundaries, be open, and talk about this thing. You know, it doesn't have to be really serious. You can you know, have a drink of wine and just, you know, make fun of it, but not in a mean way. But you know, life doesn't have to be so serious. And you know, sex is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And I think that just because you're transgender, whichever way you're transitioning, it doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't have a normal, healthy, happy, loving, supportive, amazing sex life, because let's face it, we all want to have amazing sex. For me, post-op, I had 2 kind of relationships, because I had the one where I met a woman 3 years ago and, you know, we got on, things were great, she was a nice person and everything, but I didn't really feel comfortable for her touching me sexually, so I made sure that she was aware of the boundary that I had, and you know, that was the dynamic of that relationship. And then, you know, after that relationship ended and I was single again for a little bit, and then I met my fiance, who I've been with for 2.5 years now. So we've had a sex life that's kind of grown, because I had pre-op and post-op sexual relationship with her, and you know, we discussed our boundaries and stuff, but I was able to I felt more comfortable with her than I did my other girlfriend, and you know, that's just the way it was. But you know, the fact that I was able to tell her what I was and wasn't comfortable with, and I was able to continually communicate with her, sex wasn't something that was that gave me anxiety in that relationship, or that was something that I dreaded. I actually, you know, it was a wonderful, loving, amazing thing, and there's no reason why your sex life can't be like that. You just need to communicate and agree the boundaries. I know a lot of women won't consider surgery because they're afraid that they'll lose sensation down there. Surgical techniques are amazing, especially for M to Fs, and a lot of us do have success down there. Certainly, the women who I know who are post-op are fine down there. I haven't heard of anyone who I've encountered yet who's had difficulties down there post-surgery. All I will say, it's going to take a long time for your body to settle. You have to remember that they're cutting through nerves, and nerve endings and tissues take a long time to reconnect and for you to get feeling down there. for us post-op trans women, I think once you get over the first 2 to 3 months, because remember you're dilating so frequently then as well, that it almost seems like it's a bit of a perfunctory thing to kind of to do anything down there, whereas, you know, once things settle and your dilations become less frequent. I mean, I dilate once a week now. I could probably leave it a bit longer, but I just feel like I want to dilate once a week, you know, more for hygienic purposes as well, and I keep everything moving down there and stuff, and using my douche and everything else. But certainly the sex since I've been post-op, for the first couple of months, obviously because things were really tender down there, I didn't want to be touched, and then a few months after that it was okay, but it was still learning. And then I would say for the last 3-4 months, so maybe 7 months onwards, since I've been post-op, you can tell by the smile on my face. I might be blushing, I don't know, but yeah, the sex now was bloody incredible. It took a long time for me to have any kind of sensation in my clitoris, and yeah, since I have had, the orgasms I have are incredible. I mean, even from the view that, you know, you think they remove the testicles when they do an orchidectomy, when they're doing trans surgery, so they remove the testicles, but the prostate's still there, and you know, not all sperm is produced in the testicles. You do get fluid and stuff coming from the prostate. So I was amazed when I first realised that, you know, oh my god, you know, there was something sticky down there. No, I'm not trying to gross anyone out, I'm just sharing this because I think no one bloody talks about this stuff, and they should, because it's perfectly normal. It's wonderful, the sex is incredible, and the orgasms, they're out of this world. So yeah, all I would say to you is just, you know, keep sharing what you're going through with your partner, and, you know, keep discussing what you do like and don't like, and understand that the body that you used to have isn't the body that you have anymore. So you have to learn how it all works again, and like, don't get too bogged down if you can't, you know, if the first time you use a rabbit, if you're not having multiple orgasms, it's normal. It's absolutely normal. I know I didn't for quite a long time because I had to learn how to use things and what I liked and what I don't like. But now the sex is unbelievable. So please understand that you will get there. You just, you know, the road of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Same with your transition. That's why it's called transition. It's not called switch. So there's 5 steps that I've given you. There's 5 pointers I've given you. I hope that you've got something you take away from one of those 5 steps. Certainly for me, I would say the boobs and the sex should be a massive thing for you. But I hope that you enjoyed this session as much as I've enjoyed doing it. I think it's really important that trans women understand that it's okay to not be certain. It's okay to be kind of lost in their transition. If you ask most teenagers what they're going through in puberty, it's probably similar to what you're going through. So what I want you to remember, this is your transition, this is your body, this is your journey. So I hope you cherish your journey as much as I do mine. Thank you so much for watching. This is going to be I'm going to have a 2-week break because I have my daughter for the next 2 weeks, and I want to give her my full attention, so my next vlog will be in 3 weeks. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have a happy summer holiday if you're having one. As I always say, be yourself, no one else, and I look forward to sharing the next one with you. Until then, take care. Bye.